Yeah, Coco and Jenn, they're on the mic, talking about ghosts, keeping it tight. Mothman inside, I'm scared, they bring the fright. Sassy and hot, they're on fire. Every story, they lift you higher. Tire, tune in now, you might inquire. Coco and Jenn, opinionated queens, talking about the eerie scenes. Feeling right.
Hi. Welcome to ASMR Hour. I'm just gonna burp in the microphone. Anyways, hello. It is Jenn,
Howdy.
Coco. We have some amazing co-hosts and friends here tonight. So we'll just get into introductions. Well, first off, we have Philly Cheese, who does not need an introduction because he's been on this show before and he's kind of like our third wheel. So say hello. Phil. They already know about you. You don't have to explain yourself.
Show your ball, you like
Dina,
jokes. What else can you
know.
tell us? obviously,
So we
obviously.
I don't know. I've had you on something before, Brooke, but Brooke is here from Wildwood Sanitarium, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, I always get the sanitarium. I don't know. Is there a difference? Is there a difference? Does it mean something different?
Yeah, so one of them is contagious diseases and one is not. So technically both the answers is correct because it's been both.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's fine.
So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so my name is Brooke. Obviously, I'm the owner of the Wildwood Sanitarium. I've been doing ghost hunting and spiritual stuff for right around 10 years. I started as that's my husband, yeah. I started as a very young teen in the paranormal field. My mom took us to a family reunion, and we found out that the place that we were at had ghost hunts. And so we started investigating. We did a public ghost hunt there, and we're just kind of hooked. So we've been doing this ever since. And obviously, we have a great location in Western New York.
Yes, I love your location. I have been there a couple times now. You know, Brooke, Coco, and I are actually starting something that we're doing. We're going to be doing Girls and Ghouls slumber parties, and our first one's going to be at Wildwood in March. We still have I think 9 tickets left.
Yeah.
And now we're going to be in Hinsdale in April, so that'll. But yeah, we have plans for other things, so you just gotta stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yep.
So Brandon.
Yeah, if anyone has suggestions on locations for us to go to, you can put in the comments and stuff.
Yes, definitely. Brandon. So this is I call this my the male version of me on TikTok because we're both ridiculous. So
that is a very true statement.
That's kind of where I think first started chatting with you. It all was on there, maybe. With mutual respect. So tell everybody about yourself because you do all kinds of stuff.
I enjoy long walks to the refrigerator whenever I get a chance. It's so much fun. What's up, guys? So I do stuff on TikTok. I go by ghostguybrandon. That's kind of my little thing. I had to go there.
Wait.
Nobody said anything. I'm like, I'm not. Yeah.
I know.
So I've always considered myself a paranormal investigator. I've been doing it for over 13 years now, but I've always been fascinated to ghost stories, and I've always loved pop culture ghost stories. Some that people don't really know of, and so I started, telling them on TikTok and started just reciting some of my favorite stories, and it's kind of built up since then. Having fun doing it, and people actually watch my stuff, which is kind of why. I guess you're really bored on them to do.
It's good. It's because it's good.
It's okay. You can do better things with your day than watch my shit, but I have a lot of fun doing it, and I can meet some really cool people. But yeah, I do stuff on TikTok. I'm slowly working my way into the YouTube thing with some longer form content, which the first video is me kind of gallivanting through a local cemetery trying to find a grave of a circus performer that was unalived, more or less, on a cold case file. So that's coming here very soon. And I'm just all around a really interesting fellow, if I had to say so. Kind of not really, but still.
You know what? I find
That's why we have you here tonight.
I find that like I'm also trying to do more YouTube, but like I'm sitting on like videos right now that I need to edit, and I'm like
I think that's why I love TikTok so much, because I have a really short attention span.
Yes.
And I have a really hard time paying attention for like an hour.
Yep.
So if I can create something cool within 15 to 20 seconds, under a minute, then I think people will like that as well. So
yeah, no, like I'm the same way. Like attention span short. Like I want to do YouTube, but I'd like to do like I want to do like a variety show with like different and then like ridiculous commercials. Like think of like Beetlejuice talking about an exorcism and the commercial that you know what I mean, like about just like ridiculousness, but then also serious because I can't be serious though all the time. Like it's I'm not able to. Yes.
Gotta have balance.
Yes.
So before we dive into Disney, we were gonna just chat real quick. We've talked about the Conjuring House drama before, but hold on, let me change the ticker here.
There's new drama.
Conjuring House drama. Yeah, so I think it was today, right? This morning, I go on and I see that was it Jason Hawes posted something. It was a review that somebody left that was just there. The owner is continuing to go off the rails. You know, there's something seriously wrong here. I don't know what they can do, but basically, if you didn't know about it, there's this person and his wife. I don't know who else was there, but they were investigating. They drove from Iowa, I believe, to investigate at the Conjuring House. Paid a lot of money, and you know, she showed up, introduced herself, left. They were doing an EVP session. They hear hello from downstairs. She was there again. She kept like accusing them, right? Do you guys remember how it went? She kept accusing them
of like
being like bad vibes or bad energy or something.
And I think they also complained of like them like parking in like a certain part of the parking lot. You know, a certain part of the parking lot. Yeah. She was getting all pissy.
That's what started it off, and it was all downhill from there.
Well, and she saw that they had like the laptop too, and their cameras hooked up to it, so that she thought that they were social media content creators.
Yep.
And see, that's the thing about it. I don't get. I mean, I get it to an extent, but like content creators get such a bad rep nowadays, and it's across the board. It doesn't have to be paranormal. It's just, if you're labeled a content creator or anything like that, people like to play you down. Yeah. And I've never been to the Conjuring House. I would love to go one day, very, very, very far in the future. But I mean, it's any location you go to. You pay the money, you travel. In this instance, they traveled a very long way, and you just want to have a good time without having to worry about stuff like that. And it really makes you feel bad for the paranormal community, people that deal with this stuff, you know?
It takes the fun out of it too, man. It honestly does. It's like how you mentioned the whole like content creator type of thing. It's just like if you don't want to see what people have to make, don't.
Yeah.
Well,
don't bash them or anything. Just do something else. You know.
They downplay content creators anyways and like act like it's not a real job. I mean, I know from what I do. I'm sure you guys that do this, you know. I mean, I have a full-time regular job, very demanding, but then I'm still trying to create content, and it's literally like having a second job, and we put a lot of work into it. And yeah, there are some assholes out there that, you know, kind of try to ruin it for everybody or just act up at locations, you know, but we're not all like that. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to go there, but I will not go while Jacqueline owns the location, because I don't trust myself and how I would react. So I would not be as nice as this guy was. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it ruins it. Because let's say this is your first paranormal investigation and that's your experience. You're not going to want to do it ever again.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for now. And if there's more drama, then I'm sure we will cover it in upcoming episodes. But now we're on to Haunted Disney. So I know that we all have a little, well, besides Phill, who's looking pretty. Just smile at the folks. You're our eye candy. Yeah. So I'm going to have Coco. She kind of just did a brief synopsis on different reported hauntings, and then I'm gonna let my guests go first and kind of talk about some specific ones that they know about, and then I have some stuff that I'd like to talk about. So I will let Coco take it away. You're like,
so I know, I'm like, I don't know what to say. No. There's obviously tons of ghost stories surrounding Disney, some from employees, some from guests. A lot of them kind of like commingle, people having like similar experiences, which I think is pretty neat. Since Disneyland's opening, oh wait, we're doing both. We're just doing Disney in general. I keep thinking we're talking just about Disneyland. But there's been numerous deaths on the property, which have resulted in numerous ghost stories being told. My favorite one, well, I shouldn't say favorite, my favorite death that's happened at Disney, let me tell you about it, is, and I know it's your favorite ride, Jen, the one that happened on the Matterhorn. I have read a couple different things about it. The woman who was killed on it. One of the instances said that she was decapitated on the ride. I don't know if you guys read about that, but she allegedly stood up on the ride, fell over onto the tracks. Her sled actually like went over the body, and then the next one coming in.
Oh,
I know. Could you imagine
seeing that?
What a way to go. Yes, the people on like, because it was like, I think what I read, it was like a guy and his kids, and he's like, you know, trying to shield them from the bloodshed that's happening in front of them. They say it's rare that these things happen at Disney, but there's numerous deaths that have happened. Disneyland and Disney World. Jen, I know your favorite one, Pirates of the Caribbean. Are you going to talk about that, or you want to?
I will in a little bit.
Okay.
George, good old George.
Good old George.
Yeah, but there's just a few years ago, not even in the park, at the Grand Floridian Resort, that little boy, there's alligators everywhere. First off, I grew up in Florida. I went to Disney World, to Fort Wilderness, the campground. I went there every spring. That was like what we did. We went to Disney several times a year. I've been to all these resorts. I didn't stay at them because we weren't that bougie, but like you could take the monorail, and visit them. So, I mean, there's alligators. I remember going like canoeing. My friend and I, when I was a teenager, we went canoeing. We're just canoeing, and there's alligators everywhere. And I remember she held her paddle up in the air to like stop it was Wendy, by the way, to stop the tree branch from hitting her in the face. She was in the front of the canoe, and she just flew backwards, and she's just laying with her feet up in the air in this canoe, and I'm trying to canoe us or paddle us back to the shore, and there's alligators everywhere. So there's fucking alligators all over Disney World's waters. And so a couple of years ago, a little boy was on the beach, because there's a little beach area at the Grand Floridian, very expensive resort to stay at. And he got pulled in by an alligator, and he got killed, you know? So It's horrible. But now they have signs up, like, that's not really going to stop a small child who can't really read, but, you know.
True.
Yeah. But yeah, crazy. So do you have anything else you want to tell us about, Coco?
I mean, I have a whole list of things, but I don't want to just freaking read them off.
Well, that's okay. We're gonna.
I told you I hate doing that, and I don't like it. So somebody else can tell their stories. No,
got my microphone.
I've never actually been there before.
Be like, I'm on the mic.
I was just in Disneyland for the first time whenever me and Jen went back in April.
Yes, it was a good time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, the Haunted Mansion. The Haunted Mansion was
closed.
I was so mad.
Pissed about that. I know.
my one and only time going to Disneyland, and the one ride that I would want to see is closed. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I have to go back.
Damn.
But it's just a weird vibe in general. Like Disneyland seems like it's like literally in the middle of a neighborhood. Like you're driving through Anaheim, and it's like you're in Disneyland.
You're at Disney.
Whereas Disney World, you're like, they have like acres and acres, thousands. You know what I mean? I don't even know how many acres of land. It's just like you're in a whole nother country. But Disneyland's just the vibe's like more chill. Like I know, like Disney World's freaking crazy. Like, and the lines are ridiculous. But Disneyland is just like, I mean, yeah, I know there's people that are from other places, you know, that go there, but it almost seems like it's a lot of locals, a lot of celebrities. I think the week after we were there, Kanye West and his wife was there. I'm glad we missed that nonsense. But yeah. So I mean, we'll have to go back and go to Disney, you know, and see the Haunted Mansion. But all right.
Now, how long would it take for you to actually explore the entire Disney World? Like, does it take a couple of days? Because I can imagine it'd be a massive.
Like World in Florida, yeah. You would need. I mean, there's 4 parks. And even if you spent a whole day at a park, you're not going to see everything. Like
I think they said that you can fit all of Disneyland inside of the Magic Kingdom alone.
Wow, that's
wow.
I think so.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah, and they think they have California Adventure now at Disneyland.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid by Disney World or Disney, by the way, for this. Even though, you know,
not yet.
So yeah,
not yet. You hear that, Disney?
Call me Disney. So, Brandon, you was it Disneyland stories?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to just segue over to you since we're talking about Disneyland.
So, one of the cool things about Disneyland, and I think the reason that has more haunts than Disney World, of course, it was around a lot longer than Disney World. But the 2 that I have are special because they have direct ties to Walt Disney himself. The big one, of course, is the Main Street Firehouse in Disneyland. If you go there today and you look at the Main Street Fire Department, above it is a lamp, and it's an apartment. That used to be Walt Disney's actual apartment when he was alive. He'd come, and the lamp in the window was a signal that he was actually in town. So when you would be like an employee there or a guest, and you said the lamp was turned on, you knew Walt Disney was physically in the house. Well, the story goes that after his death, there was a maid cleaning the room because they were going to open it up for tours, open it up for people just to walk through. I don't think people were actually able to stay there yet, but you know, you could view it. And the story goes, she walked up, she was cleaning, she turned the lamp off. And when she went back to do more cleaning, she came back, the lamp was still turned back on. Okay. Went back to do more cleaning, turned the lamp back off, turned back around, it was turned on again. So she was a little freaked out, so she turned it back off, watched it for a while, nothing happened. And then she cleaned up some more, went downstairs to leave, and when she's outside, she looks up, and the lamp's turned on. So she's like, enough's enough. Maybe it's a short in the wire. Maybe something's wrong with the lamp itself. So she walks up and physically unplugs it and says, you know, enough's enough. She goes back downstairs, and almost to her horror, she's looking upstairs, and the lamp's turned on again while it's unplugged. Now, there is that story, and then along with that, inside the firehouse Walt was a very heavy smoker. You can see photos of him smoking. They've actually tried to Photoshop some of the shots of him smoking the cigarette out. He didn't want to smoke in front of the guest, not in front of the children. He didn't want to kind of pass that off. So, what he did was he would smoke in his apartment. He would smoke behind the scenes before the park opened, when the park closed. But the other story, people would actually hear the sound of somebody's voice inside the apartment talking to them. But it would be like where you could hear somebody talking, but you can't physically understand what they're saying. But it would be accompanied by the cigarette smoke. And that would constantly happen. Even to this day, people have claimed to smell cigarette smoke. Of course, nobody is going to smoke inside of Disney. But they think it could be Walt's ghost still lingering around. So that's cool in the firehouse. The only other one I had was at the Golden Horseshoe, which is a saloon, kind of a tavern, show in Disneyland. The 2 stories with that one is there was a former employee that would take his lunch breaks up inside the Golden Horseshoe, and there'd be like a storage building or room inside the Golden Horseshoe. Golden Horseshoe. I can't even talk. On the 2nd floor, he'd walk upstairs, kind of hide in that room, have his lunch. long story short, he passed away. But people would say they would still feel his ghost inside of the building. Like they would tell whenever he's around because the energy would get a lot heavier, get a little bit, not darker, but more heavy. Like he didn't want to be disturbed. And they would occasionally hear banging sounds and knocking coming from the door that would lead to that storage room. And they would always tell, I think they called him, his name was Freddie. And they would always tell, okay, Freddie's here because it feels a little heavier. It feels a little like I'm not supposed to be up here. Along with that is another ghost story of Walt Disney himself, because Walt had a box. I think he had his 30th or 35th anniversary at the Golden Horseshoe with him and his wife and a bunch of his friends. So Walt had his own box and would watch the shows. And reportedly, there would be times where the staff would be cleaning up, put the chairs on the table, mopping around the room, cleaning up, and they come back to Walt's box, and all the tables, all the chairs we brought down off the table. They stack them back up, go away, come back, they're back down again. And along with the tables and things moving around, they would also smell the cigarette smoke again. Like he would, light up a cigarette. That'd be like his calling card for Walt Disney's ghost, is you would smell cigarette smoke. Because he would always do it behind closed doors when nobody else was around. And people are saying to this day, and there was a cast member that actually posted a video about this on YouTube, that he used to work at the Golden Horseshoe, and he would actually hear the banging sounds from Freddie upstairs and actually smelled the cigarette smoke before the park opened one day and thought that maybe Walt Disney kind of walking around inspecting things.
Damn.
That's crazy. That's weird how, like, I mean, that happens with a lot of hauntings, the scent thing, like the smell of things. Because I know even when I've investigated West Virginia Penitentiary, there's a certain area of the prison that smells like a sweet cigar, like almost like a Swisher Sweet. And, because of whatever somebody smoked there, because I've asked, the people that work there, and like, oh yeah, that's common, nobody's smoking, but like, it's crazy how you can smell perfume of a, an older woman that passed away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The sense, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I would take that as almost a compliment, because Walt would do the best he could to put out this clean-cut persona of himself and not want to smoke in front of the children. But if he would smoke in front of you, I think he would consider you like member of his family, somebody he would trust to smoke around. So, I mean, if I'm working there and I start smelling cigarette smoke and this is where Walt's ghost has been, I'm taking that as a compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of an honor.
Can I just say that Phill and Brooke's partners are so sweet. Zach's been blowing up the chat. Zach's been blowing up the chat, and Tina's on now. I love Tina and Zach. They're both such sweethearts. So, so supportive.
Love you, baby.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Aw.
So Brooke, you said you did a little bit of research, so I'd like to kind of hear what you have.
So, if I get this wrong of which park it is, but I believe this one is Disneyland. So Mr. One Way. Supposedly he was a guy that passed away in the 70s at Disneyland, I'm pretty sure. And he is said to haunt Space Mountain. And so people say that they'll see him get on the ride, and there'll be a single rider. And they'll look over and they'll have a gentleman sitting next to them that's kind of heavier set. And he'll have red hair, red face, a little bit bigger guy and everything. And he'll ride the ride with them. And then once you get to the part where they flash and take your picture, he will disappear. Like people have thought that he fell off the ride or something. Then they'll tell the attendant and they'll, say, oh yeah, like no one riding with you. What do you mean? And I found like a bunch of like Reddit threads too of like people experiencing riding with him, and even like dating like even early 2000s saying that they experienced it as like a child riding with him, and especially like when they were scared on the ride, which I thought was interesting. So and
awesome.
Then I have another one that's not really ghostly. It's more like abandoned stuff. So Discovery Island.
Yes, I've been there. I've been there many times.
Really? That's awesome.
Yes.
I gotta start traveling more.
Yeah. So Discovery Island was open 1974 to 1999, and they had like a lot of birds and stuff. So I guess they had one of the the last dusky, I wrote this down, dusky seaside sparrows to ever exist. And it passed away there in 1989. But they had a bunch of different rare birds, flamingos, and then different like giant tortoises, stuff like that. And then they don't really know, like Disney never released why they closed it. So some people say there was a bacteria in the water, and supposedly that bacteria killed a little boy. And then there's different ones too, like they actually, the state of attorney or something like that, they did charges against them for mishandling the birds and shooting birds and crazy stuff like that. So they don't really know why it closed, but it also could have been because of money, obviously, because Animal Kingdom opened up right around then. And but it's just kind of cool. People say that they've seen people walking around there when obviously there's not supposed to be anyone there. But there is a few like YouTube videos of people exploring it and everything, and then they got banned and like got charges and everything. And but I guess like you watch the videos and everything is just left there, like all the cages.
They got up and walked away.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
literally just left to rot.
Yep, Polaroid photos, everything. So
Crazy.
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. So,
Fun fact, they were actually like charged with like 16 counts of animal cruelty
Holy
Yep.
crap.
because of
Yep.
so
because of what they did.
Fort Wilderness, where I stayed, it's still a campground now. You can get on a boat there and go across to the Contemporary. But what you used to be able to do, well, River Country, which we're going to get into in a minute, that is literally like kind of right on where it was at, because it's tore down now. Now they've built a hotel. It was right on the bank of the Bay Lake, which is a man-made lake, and there's an island in the center. And you still to this day can, like, I just was there a year ago. You can take your boat across, but you cannot get off at Discovery Island. But I used to go there as a kid in the 90s to
That's
River
so
Country
cool.
and Discovery Island. And it wasn't really that impressive. I would have actually preferred to see it like now, but like you cannot, you'll get in trouble if you go there. But as far as having like the bacteria, because River Country, there was people that died from like a brain-eating amoeba.
Yeah, it was like meningitis, some sort of stuff. I don't even remember. It was too long of a word to remember, but yeah.
So
Crazy.
speaking of River Country, I did a TikTok video about River Country a while ago. It actually did pretty well. People are interested about it. You can't go to River Country now. Like I said, it's not there anymore, but I'm going to play that real quick for everybody. So
what you see here is River Country at Disney World Orlando, Florida. It was just outside of the Magic Kingdom and near the Fort Wilderness campground. This land used to be home to the first Walt Disney World water park, River Country. Not many Disney fans have heard of this one, but it opened back in 1976 as one of the first fully themed water parks in the world. I've actually been here quite a few times when I was a kid. It was really cool. It was themed as a Tom Sawyer swimming hole and was unique in that the attractions used filtered fresh water from Bay Lake. Disney closed the water park in 2001 and then let it sit, untouched, for years. There is a lot of speculation as to why the water park closed, with some believing that it was due to a brain-eating amoeba that infected the park's water. The rumor began likely because of the death of an 11-year-old boy who did actually die in 1980 from this while he visited the water park. Other theories claim that the park closed due to 2 guests who died in the park in the 1980s because they had drowned. The more likely reason that Disney chose to close the water park was that Disney's Blizzard Beach Water Park and Typhoon Lagoon Water Park had been built and grown in popularity. But the land had been sitting abandoned, with the water turning green and brush overgrowing in the area until recently, when Disney began work on a new planned hotel called Reflections, a Disney lakeside lodge. I think what's really odd about this all is that Disney uncharacteristically didn't demolish River Country after its closure. Instead, they simply fenced off the park and allowed it to quite literally rot for 21 years. It attracted many urban explorers who illegally broke in to explore and document the crumbling slides and pools, sharing their images on the internet for the whole world to see. This led River Country attaining an almost cult-like fame among many, even those with little interest in Disney.
Yeah.
Wow.
Watching my old videos because I feel like I've come a little bit farther since then.
I think they've been destroyed and I can barely
But
hear it.
we got it. But yeah, so I don't know why they would let it sit there for 21 years, but it really was like hidden from view. They like to, I don't know, almost like paint over a turd. They just like put like fences up and they're like, nobody will know it's here, you know. But I don't know. There's that resort. I don't know. There's always resorts everywhere, and you know, people are probably rich and having a grand time, not knowing that people quite literally just died there from, you know, brain-eating amoebas. But that's fine. It's fine.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna again segue over to Disney World. Talk about George. One of the very famous ghosts of Disney World. I'm trying to remember the story by mind. You know, like my memory sucks ass. But yeah, so basically, Pirates of the Caribbean ride. There was a man, George. He apparently, and this is like, I don't know. It's kind of like there's a lot of like different variations of the story, but he was a construction worker that worked on the ride. I believe he was crushed by one of the props. They said it's one of the parts, like the building part or something like that. That's inside of the ride, but he was crushed, died inside the ride. So at this point, George is not malicious, but he is definitely mischievous. He makes everybody say good morning and good evening to him, you know, when they arrive or when they leave, or apparently he's going to shut the ride down or cause issues. And I know for a fact that I've been on that ride many times and it's definitely had some issues. I usually think it's because there's 5 million people there. But I guess he likes to mess with women. He'll like mess with their bra straps or, you know, do something to them. And when they turn around, there's nobody there. They even said like, kind of after he died, there was like a sad looking older woman that would ride the ride alone, and that was his mother, and it looked like she was talking to somebody in the ride, but there was nobody there. So was she talking to her son George? I don't really know. So that's kind of all I know about the story of George. I don't know if Brandon, have you heard that story at all?
I have. And basically it's just the legend with it. If they don't say good morning and good night to George, the ride will malfunction the next day, and that, you know, until they actually physically say good morning. And there's actually another version of that story, but it's at the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror in Hollywood Studios. There supposedly is a doll called Caesar, and Caesar the dummy was actually featured in one of the Twilight Zone episodes of the TV show. And if you, right before the ride ends, you quit dropping, and right before you get off, there's a little doll on the right hand side, just a little like 1950s dummy doll. And according to legend, also with the cast members, if the cast members do not say hello to Caesar and goodbye to Caesar, the ride will malfunction the next day. So they call him Caesar the Haunted Doll. So that's kind of cool. So if you get off the ride, well, before you get off the ride, after it drops and you make that turn and it takes you like you're going to go off, it's right there on your right-hand side, and it's very easy to miss. I did a video on it on my page, but apparently it's the same kind of situation. If you don't say good morning and good night, you'll have nothing but problems the next day.
Is this world or land?
World.
Okay. I have to keep an eye out for that. I mean, the Tower of Terror is terrifying as it is because of the drop. Yes, yes. But yeah, definitely a very good ride though. I'm reading this real quick. It also is about George. It also says the tower that crushed him allegedly contained his initials, and they were carved in the base, and all attempts to remove the initials are fruitless, and they'll always reappear even if it's painted over. So, you know, I tend to wonder. I mean, obviously we know people, you know, die there, but like, I don't know, you know, is it just, you know, myth? Is it just scary stories? I don't know. But
I think with Disney, it's like people worship Disney. And I mean, it's the happiest place on earth. And that's just a phrase to some people, but some that's actually true. This is where I feel the happiest. So I could see that being somewhere where when they die, you know, this is where I want to be at. I want to be here. I want to be a part of this. Or if, if I'm a worker and I pass away, I see how popular this is. Maybe I just want to stay here,
Yeah.
And it goes back to people dumping their ashes on some of these rides way back when. And of course, the Ghost Boy at the Haunted Mansion and all this stuff. It's like people feel so attached to these locations that this is where they want to rest from here to eternity. So I could see that.
And are people getting in trouble all the time for like trying to dump ashes and stuff? Like, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, employees had to like stop them and be able to handle the situation. And
What's really
not
crazy
supposed
too,
to, but I'm
like,
sure people
my
do.
opinion, like certain amusement parks is kind of not as great as it used to be, because I used to be able to handle a lot at amusement parks, like the spinning rides and all that stuff too. Now even looking at them gets me sick. I can't do it. Like at Kennywood, the volcano ride, it just starts going like this, and it slowly goes up and down. Doesn't matter if you have a full stomach or an empty stomach. Can't do it anymore, man. I don't know.
Can't do the spinnies either.
I used to love it, but now it's just like even going to Disney World or Disneyland, like I want to, but I'm in no rush to. I don't know. It's just I get very. It becomes so overwhelming. You're just like, I got to get out of here.
I was just at our local Pittsburgh amusement park, Kennywood, on Saturday, and I haven't rode the Phantom in forever, and that's like one of the big bad roller coasters there. And I got off, and I like almost fell down. Like I was like my brain was scrambled. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like old age is setting in. God, it's horrible. It's horrible. Real quick about the Pirates of the Caribbean, I've also heard that they've used real bones inside the ride.
I was just gonna say that they used actual like human skeletons. Oh, it says only a few remain now, but whenever it opened, like the skeletons were made from actual human bones.
That's really
good. Where did they get them all?
Yeah, I mean, is that
where did they get them all? I need to know.
Is that even legal?
I'm trying to think.
Like, were they just like grave robbing places and like we're like, we need decoration? Let's. Sorry,
we're gonna have to let you go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Like,
I'm trying to think of how
that. Where they got them?
Like, how the hell would that be a cheaper option?
No, they're not cheap.
Right?
No, human skeletons and bones. Not that I'm going and purchasing them. I couldn't afford them, but they're not cheap.
No.
And, like I don't think it's legal. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to find out.
Yeah, and I'm reading your notes, Corey. It says there were deaths on the People Mover. I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. So, well, I read a couple of like people trying to like jump cars. Let me see. Sorry, my finger keeps covering my camera while I'm scrolling. I know. Sorry, I keep forgetting like my iPad is sideways. But yeah, I read several accounts like people trying to jump cars while they're on the People Mover and like, obviously missing the next car and just either falling on the track and getting crushed or like. Yeah,
that thing moves. That thing goes.
It can. Wow. It gets like zippy at one point when it's going through like the Space Mountain area and you're looking. Yeah. But like, I mean, it seems like it's a ride like your grandma would ride, and it's like the next thing you're telling me is somebody got crushed in like the Carousel of Progress, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like the guy singing in the Carousel of Progress is really like a human, and that they turned into an animatronic. That's not true as far as I know, but
I don't know. I happen to think that the animatronics were probably all alive at once. They're so creepy.
There are stories that the little kids on the It's a Small World do turn on throughout the night. Like
I don't. Well, I read that they don't like ever turn off. Like they're just always dancing 24/7.
No, even when the music.
I know.
That's scary.
Do you remember that episode of Family Guy with Stewie? And it was like, "It's a tiny, tiny world." And then, like,
trying to avoid the copyright.
What's really funny? Like going back to whenever you mentioned that lady got her head like lobbed off on a roller coaster.
Yeah,
it reminded me of the movie Hereditary for some reason. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Well. Oh yeah, because she's like hanging out the car and gets smacked by the speed limit sign or stop sign, whatever it was.
Yeah,
that movie was fucked up.
I gasped in the theater. I was like, "Oh my god!"
You audibly gasped.
Yeah,
That's Jenn.
Have any of you guys seen? There's a video. You can find it pretty much anywhere. They think it's the ghost of Walt Disney walking through Disneyland. You ever seen that?
No.
That sounds
No,
really
but-
I've
neat.
not seen the
So-
video.
It's
I
like
was when I was researching things, I saw.
you see it. It's kind of interesting because it's a closed circuit television security cam, but it's like this shadow figure kind of like going across down the sidewalk, and they think it could have been Walt Disney.
Hey.
Oh,
Well,
They
now
could
I need to
have
see
been
it.
anybody.
That's crazy.
yeah. Well,
I
Jen, I
like-
sent you a picture of there was like an account you were talking about the Tower of Terror of how there's actually like an employee who died during their shift there who haunts the Tower of Terror. And there used to be a video, but apparently it's like been deleted off the interwebs somehow.
Damn
But a couple pictures remain. Sorry, my finger again. But I think I sent you that, Jen, and you can see in the picture that there's just like a shadowy, ghosty figure sitting on the ride, which is
That's
pretty
creepy.
crazy.
I don't know if you guys see
know.
that.
I wanna
That's
see-
where am I at there? That's Caesar the dummy from the Tower of
Oh,
Terror.
my
Okay.
my one fear in life is those freaking dummies. Like
Yeah.
I hate them. I can go into wherever, I can walk around wherever, ghosts, all that, but put me with like a fucking dummy. No, hard pass. Hard
know.
pass. There's been one of the deaths I was just on at Epcot, that mission space. They have like 2 levels of this mission space. You either get in the green line or the orange line, and it's supposed to or I think it's orange. The orange one, I think, is the one that's like hardcore. It's supposed to simulate getting like sent into space, and like a little boy, I think, passed away on that. Like, I guess his body couldn't take it. But I was in Epcot 2 years ago for my daughter's birthday, and I remember we're in line for the bad one, and I'm like reading all this stuff, and I'm watching TikToks of people getting off the ride, and like people are quite literally vomiting as they're coming off, and we like got out of line after they already placed us in the little squares to go in, and I'm like, fuck this. I got out of line, went all around, spent 20 minutes, and got back in line for the easy one. Because I'm like, I'm not dying or having a heart attack or whatever else. I don't even know why that is a ride that is at Disney World. But
What ride is it, did you say?
Mission Space or something like that. It's like
Oh.
supposed to simulate going into space. And like the one side, there's like an easy side, and then there's like a more intense side. Well, more intense is like on like sicko mode. It's like it's not okay. And why is that ride there? And I wondered why I was able to get a fast pass so easily, because nobody wanted to go on that ride. There was like nobody in line. I got in an hour early because nobody wanted to go there, because you're gonna vomit or die on that ride.
Speaking of vomit in Epcot, there's the what's the game? It's a Mission to Mars. You ever heard that before?
Nope.
No.
Sounds really cool.
It's
though.
at Epcot, where basically it's like a team of 3 people that you have to land the space rover.
Nice.
And I actually grew into motion sickness as I got older. How the hell does that happen?
No,
Like,
I have
You're
two.
getting older, man.
It sucks.
I have two.
Yeah, I have it.
So I have to take motion sickness medicine when I go on rides, but I cannot do zero gravity whatsoever. There's a reason I have gravity, so I can keep my ass on the ground. I can't float. That's just not how it happens. I'm not meant to fly.
No.
And we're landing the space rover, and it was my job. Like, one person steers, one person hits the boosters, and one person does whatever the hell. Mine was like to direct it to which way to go. And like, we're hitting that zero gravity. I'm starting to float. I can feel it coming up through here. I'm like, So I'm trying to land it over. I'm getting yelled at by this dude next to me, like, dude, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, if anybody's watching, if you ride the Mission to Mars ride, if you have motion sickness, just avoid. No ghosts, just vomit. No ghosts and vomit.
Just the ghosts of what you ate prior.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm good on that. I
Damn.
mean, I don't
Didn't
know.
we do something like that in Disney where we were like pretending to drive a spaceship?
That was a Star
You
Wars.
remember that?
But that was cool.
Oh, okay. That was a Star Wars. Yeah.
And that was very mild. That wasn't like that. That was
Yeah. There was some parts though, but it wasn't that crazy.
Ugh.
yeah. So I'm trying to see. Where are we at? I'm done that. We covered that. I'm reading your notes. I'm reading your notes. I'm trying to think. I got the deaths. Well, the monorail.
All the
The
dead people.
monorail. The
Oh,
monorail
yeah.
must be actually
The
haunted.
monorail man. Yeah.
Freaking monorail, man.
And I've heard
The
I've heard
monorail
that.
man.
I know. I've heard that. I mean, we used to like I said, we went to Fort Wilderness when I was a teenager. We would be able to like my best friend that I would bring at the time with me. We'd be able to like go on the monorails. We'd ride there at night. I remember like I started learning to speak Spanish because of the like, please stand clear of the doors. It was like, por favor, Montego, se hala vas. And like and like that still stays with me to this day. I actually have like a metal sign that says please stand clear of the doors with the monorail. But yeah, like I've always heard, I've never seen the ghost, but I always heard that it was haunted. I even got to ride in the front one time with the person because I don't think I realized that somebody actually drives that thing. I just thought it was like
Automatic.
whatever.
Automatic.
Yeah, but somebody actually drives that. There's somebody up there, and if you're lucky enough, you get to go up in the front. But I haven't seen any ghosts at Disney World. Personally, I've been there probably 30 to 40 times in my life. Only Disneyland only once. But I've never seen a ghost there. I'm hopeful maybe one day I'll see one. Hopefully nobody else dies there, but
No death. No.
that's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. That's how it goes. So that's all I have about hauntings at Disney. Does anybody else have anything else? Because if not,
I have
We're gonna-
something that's not Disney related, but theme park related.
okay.
So actually, Cedar Point, and like fair parks, they've had a ton of deaths and stuff too. And we've been going to Cedar Fair Park since I was very young. When I was young, we used to go like once a month to Cedar Point. Canada's Wonderland is only about 2 hours from us, so we were there all the time and everything. So the Raptor at Cedar Point, it's towards the front gate in I don't remember what year it was, but it was a few years ago. Teacher was there with his students and everything, and he dropped his phone on the ride when it went down the one part where it swoops down close to the ground. So he actually climbed the fence while the ride was moving and got killed on the ride because he was trying to get his phone.
If you bypass like 5 or 6 signs, 3 or 4 fences, and a guard net, it's kind of hard to feel sorry for you.
So we were in the park that day when it happened. So that was pretty crazy.
That is crazy. Like Kennywood, they have the racers. Kennywood's a very old park. It's been around for over 100 years. Yep. It's there's a lot of things that it has in the park that are like the last of its kind. And they have a ride called the Racers. It's an old wooden roller coaster, and there's 2 cars that go at the same time and they race each other. And I know that people have died on there from standing up. There's even a huge sign that says "Don't stand up" with like skulls on it because people will die. But people still like, why are you standing up?
Stop it. Stupid.
People gamble.
That's how like most of the deaths have happened across like Disney World and Land, is because of people doing stupid shit when they shouldn't be, and then you get unalived because of it. Like, don't do dumb shit and just enjoy the ride. You probably won't die. But if you do die, you might become a famous ghost at Disneyland.
True.
Don't entice them.
So it's a win-win. It's a win-win, guys.
There's one more.
So it actually just happened again too this year at Kings Island on a ride called Banshee, in the same similar story. I think it was his car keys or something he dropped. And again, same thing. The guy jumped the fence and got killed and everything. It's crazy.
I heard about that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that was this year.
Crazy.
That's nuts.
There was
Why not just ask for help?
I think it was at, I don't know if it was Disney World or Disneyland, but it's at the defunct now Splash Mountain. And I think it was Disney World. It was, of course, they call him Billy. The story varies from different. Some people say he had a heart attack on the boat. Some people say he got off the boat because he was having a medical emergency to try to get off, and he was crushed. But apparently there's a ghost that haunts the Splash Mountain. But the interesting thing is, if you can find the video, I'm pretty sure it's on my page, one of the top videos that's pinned. There's actually a video of the Disney cast acknowledging Billy the Ghost. So I think it was the last ride of the night before it shut down and become Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is what it is now.
Yeah.
There's actually, you can hear the person over the intercom say, to Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, all that, thank you for the memories. And to, I think his name is Billy. Billy, thank you, good night, and be nice to Tiana. So it's kind of like they're passing the torch to the next ride, but they're acknowledging the ghost of the ride. And that's been recorded. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Easy.
You know about the Splash Mountain, whatever. I mean, I don't know, whatever Tiana now. I know that speaking of the alligators, they've had to get alligators out of that water. And how are these alligators getting in the park? I mean, there's alligators everywhere down there. Keep your eyes open. The alligators are everywhere.
Yeah. Why are there so many alligators everywhere?
Just watch the water. That's all I'm saying.
Mommy,
Don't go anywhere near the water. You're safe.
It's creepy. How the hell they go on the ride?
I don't know.
They want to have fun, I guess.
Well, I'm sure by the time everybody gets there, that they're they've already. That's like when I was in Tennessee. We were at Anakeesta. Coco was there, and there's black bears everywhere, and they're trying to come into it's dusk, and we're gonna go in this light up thing that they had there at night, and literally there's a team that's just running around shooing the bears. So
on bear watch,
so there's probably somebody.
We're just walking around in the dark, and they're like, "Watch out for the bears." How are you supposed to see them?
So they probably have somebody like Tiger King, but Gator King that that one of those guys in Florida, the weirdos, because I grew up there. There's a lot of them, from Gatorland that just comes and takes the gators out. So I don't know, because they, like I said, it's a man-made lake. I don't think they put the gators in, but they found the water because you're literally building that in the middle of that's their land, the gators. So so before we end, we are going to do something that we do every week, and it's called the Fish Bowl. And if anybody has any suggestions of topics to put in it, send us a message and let us know. But Coco has a little fish bowl. She mixes it up. She pulls something. Don't know what the topic's going to be, but we usually just talk on it for a few minutes. Sometimes I run my mouth and it's not okay, and sometimes the topic's fine. So take it away.
Okay. Sorry, they're stuck together. Okay. Sorry. Oh, Jen, I know you'll like this one. Thoughts on demons and the word overusing demons. Do demons exist?
Oh my God, we don't have.
Take it away. You got 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm just making. Okay, do I believe in demons? Yes. Do I believe everything's a demon? No. Do I think people are assholes and you overuse the word demon? Yes. That's all I'm going to say on this topic, because I'll just ramble. So I'll let Brooke, you can go, and then Brandon, and then the other guys want to go.
Oh, geez. I mean, I agree exactly what you just said, 100%. I do believe they do exist, but I also believe that there's also, this is a good way to put it, is some people are assholes in life, and they're going to be assholes in death, okay? So they're going to be nasty spirits out there and everything. So a lot of times I think it's just one that was not nice when they were living. So that's my take on it.
All right, Brandon.
So I agree with Jen and Brooke. It's become clickbait, honestly,
Yes.
the word demon. And I believe in heaven and hell. I believe that in demons, but I also think that same with what Brooke just said, people can be assholes in life. They're going to be assholes in death. Also, it's like, if this is what I consider my home and you're coming into my home, walking around, asking questions, I never invited you in, I'm not going to be the most hospitable to you as well. So I think the big thing with demon is miscommunication and misinterpretation, and that's just the best way to look at it. But people use the word way too much nowadays, where it's almost like a drinking game to where how many times can it be said within a 5-minute clip? But I like to watch stuff and try to see how many times it's not mentioned, which is very few and far between nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I the YouTube like thumbnails, I don't need to say much. We all know they're ridiculous. Ridiculous. Sometimes I like to just do it and just, you know, if I make a video, I'll just be like, you know what I mean? Like just a little like thumbnail of me looking like constipated, you know, like, Phill, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, basically, you guys all hit the nail on the head. Like what Brandon said, I believe in a heaven and a hell. People can be assholes and they can be perceived as a demon because that's the only way to describe them, you know? And I am one of those guys that will click a video of a supposed demon just so I can watch something fun, you know? And I mean, it's entertaining. I mean, and plus it gets views. And do I think it's, you know, over exaggerated? Sure. But, you know, whatever. I mean, if it's like, you know, causing people to watch you, you'll do anything for the most part, you know?
Yeah.
And,
people want to be famous.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what you're doing is wrong or silly because who am I to judge? I'm just as silly about that too. But, you know, people have their own ways of gaining popularity. And if it's going to be something like that, who's to stop you? You know?
Yeah. And I mean, I've seen like people that I was cool with. I'm not going to name names, but people that I've been cool with that do this, that might have started out, you know, they weren't that popular.
Yeah.
They started doing the demon game, started becoming more popular. Now they're literally fucking ridiculous. And that's all they're about. And then when people call them out about it, they get all like pissy because we're calling you out about it because what are you doing? You used to talk crap on people like that. It's ridiculous. But one thing about ghosts is that I also think that ghosts, because I've been to places, I think that if they don't want to be bothered, how are they gonna freak you out? How are they gonna get rid of you? Demon. Exactly. They're gonna say demon. They're not stupid. They're like, oh, let me say I'm a demon, even though I'm not, because I want you to leave. So,
I talk about that all the time in Wildwood, because what they'll do is, especially like in the basement and everything, they'll start saying stuff like that. They say Satan all the time and everything. And I've made a TikTok about it, joking about it. Like, you guys are just being sassy. Like, knock it off. Like, it's so funny. Because, like, people on public ghost hunts, they don't know the difference. So they're like, oh, my God, like, we should leave. This is crazy. And all this stuff. And I just started laughing at them. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, you don't need to do this right now. Like, stop being sassy. And we joke about it.
I mean, like you're obviously you own Wildwood, but I've been to Wildwood quite a few times and there's no demons there. There's some sassy spirits and they go to bed. They, like I said before, they go to bed at a certain time. They do. They're like, we're done and we're going to bed and we're done talking. Do you remember that, Corey?
Yeah. It's like almost like they just like shut off. Yeah. They're like,
and sometimes they're like that.
We're not entertaining you anymore.
Yeah.
We've actually had a couple content creators come that I kind of told them, like, guys, there's not anything crazy negative here. So don't you dare put that in your video. And I've done it a couple times because they're very well known for that. And I tell them, like, that's not here. Wildwood has good energy. Like, of course, bad things happen. People have been scratched. People have been attacked. Like, I'm not saying nothing negative ever happened. But there's no, like you said, Jen, there's no demons. There's nothing like that. It's, you know, it's not like that. So,
yeah.
When I think demon, I think like possession, like your local Catholic priest is going to have to come exorcise you. Right. But like you said, and I agree with like you guys, like you're going to have like your ghosts that are going to be like, all right, we're going to entertain these guys. We're going to be, you know, but then you're going to have your bad energy ghosts too. That just, you know, like you said, they were shitty in life. They're going to be shitty in death.
And you have people that are like on one end, because like I said, I grew up in the Pentecostal church. My mom used to do deliverance, which is like exorcism. And like they believed in that church, everything's a demon, you know, which is one extreme. But then you have people that, you know, I've gotten in disagreements with on the internet where they don't believe anything's a demon. Demons don't exist. And it's like, we really don't 100%. Nobody knows really, you know, none of us on earth at least know. Yeah. So, you know, believe what you want, but don't be a fucking, as we say in Pittsburgh, jag off. So
and honestly too, to piggyback off of that, I think it depends on how you approach any investigation. Like if you know there's a malevolent spirit there, a pissed off spirit, don't just go in there trying to provoke the damn thing. You're still their guest in their house, Still be respectful, even though this person was a terrible human being. It's like, I'm not going to give you the same treatment because that makes me look just as bad. So just go in there and be like, all right, well, I heard stories that you did this or you did that. That's, whatever. So it's just like, I think people kind of, and, to go, and also to add on to that, I think people get kind of a little bit too gullible whenever they hear the word, they're like, oh my, no, I used to be that way, but now it's just like, whatever, it's just, it is what it is. Cause every encounter you go to, nothing could happen and something else could happen. So it just all depends on who you are and what energy you bring. And
true,
sometimes you get a boring night and the demon is probably chilling in the back like, yep, I got nothing.
All right, so it's 8:01.
Sorry, I rambled there.
No, you're all good. You're all good. Brooke, where can people find you? Where can they find Wildwood if they need to get a hold of you, which they should?
Yeah, so all of our social media is Wildwood Sanitarium in some shape or form. Our book is the Wildwood Sanitarium Restoration Project. And then obviously like my Facebook page, just my name, Brooke Przystal. We also have a TikTok account that we're trying to do something with, the Wildwood Crew, where we just kind of make like silly videos of all the volunteers and everything at Wildwood and different things. And then we're eventually going to do live streaming on there and everything. Obviously our website, wildwoodsanitarium.com. I just redid all that and Zach did too and uploaded all these really awesome pictures. And so we've been working on updating all that too. And yeah.
Awesome.
And you'll see all three of us together next year with all of our sleepover events, which I'm so excited about. So
yes.
If you're interested in
Super
coming,
excited.
go on one of our pages. Hey, we have Christopher Lee Jansen is coming as our guest psychic medium for the one at Wildwood. So we're excited about that. So it's not, we're not saying it only has to be girls.
No.
We're for the girls.
We're
Brandon.
Yeah.
Yes. Brandon, where can they find you? Where can they see these hilarious videos?
So all my stuff's on TikTok, ghostguybrandon on TikTok. I start uploading stuff to YouTube, ghostguybrandon. Gotta give a shameless plug. We have a brand new series that we've started to film for Mike and Chris, the Wraith Chasers, called Ghost Mob. It's a brand new show that we just filmed season 1. The first episode just aired from St. Albans Sanatorium. So that's currently airing both on Amazon Prime and Scare Network. And the first episode was St. Albans Sanatorium. The very next one is going to be from Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. And we got some other cool ones coming, but that's all on Amazon Prime and Scare Network.
Fancy.
Very cool.
Fancy. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. I love you both. You're great people. And it was fun to talk about Disney World, for spooky season. That's almost Halloween.
Yay.
So I'm going to play our outro 11/7 at 7 p.m. We have Val and Nick Carboni from Old World Paranormal Society. I think he's going to be at Wildwood this weekend, right?
Yeah, they have a sold out event on Saturday.
Nice. Him and Bree. Nice. So the next topic is going to be one of my, favorites, the different monsters and are they real? Mothman, Bigfoot, all that crap. So love it.
It's going to be awesome.
Thank you guys. I'm going to play the outro and we'll see you guys all soon.
All right. Bye. Thank you guys.
Next time on Opinionated Vodcast with Coco and Jenn, we have our guest co-hosts, Nick and Val, and we're going to dive into monster madness. Are they real? Mothman, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, the Flatwoods Monster. We're going to dive into it, get their opinions, give our opinions, and, just have a good time. See you then, November 7th, 7 p.m. Bye.